Having milked the idea of blue sky videos for quite some time, I'm going to milk it again. Us landscape photographers are never satisfied with light. We're always saying it's the wrong kind of light, or it's too harsh, or it's not harsh enough, or there's always something wrong with the light. Any photographer will tell you that a blue sky day is not the ideal landscape photography conditions. But that doesn't mean to say you can't take photos. In actual fact, of course, it doesn't mean to say you can't take photos in any kind of light. In fact, in this video, I want to discuss that there's no such thing as the wrong kind of light. I generally consider myself to be a fair weather photographer. I don't mind getting wet. There's nothing wrong with getting wet. I'm quite happy with getting wet. The problem is that kind of to prevent yourself getting wet, you end up having to put clothes on that protect you from the wet outside, but all too often actually introduces a great deal of wet inside. You just sweat your nads off. Maybe there's the point. Maybe that's the point. Maybe I have the wrong kind of wet weather gear. In the boating and sailing communities, it is often said that there is no such thing as the wrong type of weather. You've just got the wrong type of clothing. And I think in situations like we have here with just blue sky, we don't have the wrong type of weather. We have the wrong type of attitude. Because we can take pictures in any conditions that we fancy, let's face it. I mean, the camera doesn't stop working. What often stops working is this thing up here, and our approach to it, which is all too often just not the right approach. Now, of course, if you haven't already worked out that big red and white thing is a lighthouse, so it's facing out to this big blue wobbly thing over here. And if you were to turn around to me and say, that's the wrong kind of thing to be photographing today, I might turn around and say, well, why? Why is it the wrong type of thing? Well, just look at the colour. I mean, how could you not want to take a photograph just of the colour? You must be able to make something of that. And the thing that's limiting you is this idea that it's the wrong type of colour. It's the wrong type of light. It's very harsh and such. You can see all the groins down there. What you can't see so much from here is the sea defences and how battered they are. This area has a great deal of kind of bits of foreground and such that work incredibly well. You can use these sticks that stick out of the sea as subjects in themselves for very minimalist photography. A nice long exposure of a few of those sticks coming out of the sea would be rather pleasant. I wasn't thinking of taking photographs of the sea for the minute. I'll put a photograph up of the sea that I shot a little over a week ago here. I was going to get photographs of the lighthouse because I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think I've done a video from here that really kind of features the lighthouse. Surely it's wrong to ignore that. So I've come into the field edge. I'm right on the boundary of the field here, and you can see I'm really low down. Either that or these are really, really tall. The camera is just literally skimming the top of the crop. The sun is at about 45 degrees to me, and it's creeping into the top right hand corner of the image, and I might just adjust that ever so slightly. In front of the lens in the foreground, we've got some of this grass, which is just interfering with the horizon, because, as I say, we're just skimming the top. I don't know whether this image is going to be great. The polarizer is doing a little bit because we're only at 45 degrees. It's not doing a great deal, but it is just darkening the blues down just about enough in order to bring out the cloud that's behind it. The shot's going to be a combination of probably 6 exposures, because there's a wide gamut of light here because the sun's in the shot and it's getting lower and lower. 3 of them are just the standard exposures, blended, I think the 2 stops apart, and then there's another 3 same exposures, but with me sticking my finger in front of the lens, blocking the sun, so we get rid of the big ball of flare that's right down in the bottom left of the frame. I don't know whether this is going to work. It's going to take a bit of work in post-production. It's probably not a great shot, and yeah, I'll put it up now regardless of what it's like, and I'll show you a similar shot that I got, I think it was last year, from same kind of location, probably a bit later on in the day. I think it's probably a month or so, probably July of last year. This is June, and different, well, very similar feel to it, but different colours, and I think certainly last year's shot is going to beat this one. But anyway, you tell me what you think of them. Well, in the end, I only actually need 1 exposure. There was no flare, and I could pull down the highlights nicely, and I got this. I think it's quite nice. And this is the one I got, very similar, last year. Did you know you can follow me on Facebook as well? Now, while I was doing the piece of the camera for that last shot, I spied, it was really close to me, a group, well, it's a weed, yeah, I mean, everything that you haven't planted intentionally is a weed, isn't it? But it's really kind of structural. It's a lovely looking thing, and the sun's catching it quite nicely, and I fancy I can use it as a foreground, so I'm going to give that a go. This is going to be a challenge, because not only have I got to bracket the exposure, I've got to almost certainly bracket the focus as well, and we've got a breeze, so let's just say this is this isn't easy, so let's just go for it. We will do one here and one there. Truly, I don't know whether we've got anything great there. Oh, we might have. If you watch the channel regularly, you'll know that I'm often a bit down on my images. I'm up and down on this one. I wasn't certain about it when I was editing it, and I came back to it a few hours later, and I was then quite happy with it. I'm not sure. I think the gap between the weed and the lighthouse, like that area of field, I think it's just too big. But anyway, let me know what you think, and if you're not following the channel regularly, please hit the subscribe button. A couple of weeks ago in a video, which I'll link up here, I was, I don't know, half a mile perhaps further down the cliff top over there, shooting within a World War II gunning placement. This time I'm a little bit further around, obviously shooting the lighthouse over there, and we've got this wonderful pillbox, as we call them, here. It's right on the edge of this cliff now. This coastline is eroding horribly. There are 2 of these here. There's one here, and there's another one in the field to the right of the lighthouse down there. And I hoped that I'd be able to, let's get out of the light so you can see me a little. I hoped that I'd be able to shoot the lighthouse with this kind of creeping in on the edge, but I think it might work in a while. But I think, yeah, I'm kind of trying to shoot something like that, and I think that's just too dominant. But I think also that when the sun dips some more and creates some more orange light, there might still be something there, because obviously everything really down here now is being thrown very much into a kind of silhouette. It's either a silhouette or it's a whiteout, isn't it? So I'm trying to shoot for the conditions, and yeah, let's not ignore the point of the video. The video is about nothing to do with the wrong kind of light. It's how you deal with the light, and I'm not sure so far whether I've dealt with it terribly well. I know that at the minute for me it's getting a little bit too challenging, because really my subjects are this way, and that's also where the sun is. So maybe I've muffed that up entirely. Perhaps I'll walk a little bit further up this path and see what I can find. And I suppose in another 40 minutes or so the sun will be dipping enough to give me some other options. So maybe 100 yards or so further up the path, looking back towards the pillbox and the lighthouse, we can get a bigger view of the thing. And so we've got the path. I don't think you can see this. I don't think the exposure is right at all, but we've got the path. We've got the huge church, which again you will have seen on the video a couple of weeks ago. And we've got the lighthouse, and we've got a really nice balanced image. I don't think the light's right. I think we need to wait until we get some colour in the sky rather than just white, and we're getting there. As you can see, it's beginning to kind of orange up, but I think when the colour's there, I think there might be something that's rather nice. But I have shot an image already for it, and we'll kind of fall back on that if the colour doesn't work. But I think actually here it's quite a nice composition, just kind of simple landscape composition, kind of traditional landscape composition, very much against what I've been talking about recently about kind of going in and taking photographs about things rather than of things. But at the same token, it's quite a wide shot, but it does tell a story. It is talking about the scene because of what's in the scene. They're positioned nicely so they're visible. It's still about not of, but not in the same way that I've been yakking on about in previous videos. A little bit further on, there's another pillbox just down here, and what I actually like here is this barn building. I'm not sure what it is, just straight over there. I'm not sure how much you can see of it. Perhaps if I pull you a little higher, you can see there's a building there, and I'll have my glasses falling off. So the light is is it perfect for this? I don't know. It's really nice because we've got some lovely side light hitting it. I do rather fancy it. And there's this tree, bush, whatever behind it. I'm thinking I would perhaps like to get a bit of separation on that if I could. I don't know that I can. Just not sure. Need height really, because it's really nestled down there. Maybe it's a drone shot. There's something else about light which we often forget, and it's brought home to me now because if I turn around this way, you can probably, you probably can't see that the sun is dipping, and it's dipping fast. And one of the problems with that is I've actually got bloody cold. But the point is actually that we do tend to forget that light changes. It changes all the time. Yeah, the sun is a object that's moving throughout the sky all the time. It has things passing in front of it. They're called clouds. They interact with that great big ball of fire so much that they can cast huge shadows on the ground. They can change a wonderfully bright scene into something that is all of a sudden quite dull and dark. Yeah, the clouds remove stops of light. Can you believe it? And the point being that actually often all we need to do to wait for the right light, remember that there's no wrong light, but the light that we want, all we need to do is to wait sometimes. Me being me though, I haven't got a jumper with me, so now I'm kind of rushing to get back before I actually get cold, because whilst this is just past midsummer, once that vanishes, I don't know whether you can see it behind the church there, but once that vanishes, and particularly with these sea breezes, heck, it's chilly. Really chilly. There's a real subtlety to the light now, and this shot I got earlier I think is a different image now. I think it's a nicer image, and there's another photographer who's just kind of in the way there, which I'm going to have to get the clone tool on him. Whereas that photographer was very static in the initial shot, luckily he moved off, and yeah, I just got a kind of figure in there. I do not know which of these are going to come out. I stopped filming because that thing up there, as you may see, I don't know, has virtually vanished. There's a bank of cloud. Yeah, we often get this, don't we? There's a bank of cloud, we can't see it because the sun's kind of there and brightening everything around it, but it's just disappearing, it's just vanishing, it's gone, it's literally just gone. And it happens so fast, you know, unless you've been stood here for 20 minutes or so and setting everything up and finding the right positions and everything else and such. And I didn't work that way tonight. You know, unless you're there doing that, you've got to work fast. So I initially shot from this side, looking in, and got into this this grass quite a bit. And then I went and shot from the other side, and I've got a few. I don't know which one I might show you. I might show you more than one. I do not know. So we start with an okay shot from the drone, just nothing special. This is the first image I shot before walking in the opposite direction and putting the drone up. It's quite nice. I really struggled to keep control of that sun highlight. This next one was probably one of the last I shot on that evening, or certainly of this particular scene. I like it just purely for the way the sun looks. It's got some nice balance to it. But for me, this is the shot of the evening. You can see the photographer right in the centre there, hair highlighted by the receding sun. I am so pleased I didn't have to clone him out. Light. There is no such thing as the wrong kind of light. It's how you treat that light. It's how you deal with it. It's what you shoot with it. It's finding the right kind of things. I know some of the images I've got here this evening are not perfect, you know, because the sky has, the sun's just peeking back through again over there. But the sky's has had quite, well, very little interest in it. So yeah, lots of just kind of flat blue colour. We can deal with that with contrast, we can deal with that with darkening it down, we can deal with that with colour contrast, we can deal with it in all kinds of ways. It's how we deal with all of these things that's important, and never ever forget that when you go out and pick up your camera, or specifically actually before you go out. Don't look at the sky and say, oh, that's not worth it. If you remember at the beginning of the video, I said that I'm more of a fair weather photographer. Well, a few days later, I went out and chased some lightning. I had an alert on my phone, and yeah, the video, let's face it, is all about the wrong kind of light and how we kind of perceive the wrong kind of light. Now, of course, I know that the right kind of light is storms and the end of the day and the start of the day and all of this stuff. Anyway, I went out and I chased this storm, and I chased it back to the same place, and I got these two shots. Now, yeah, I'm just tacking this onto the end because I wanted to show you the shots. It's, you know, being a bit tenacious about going out there and just doing the things that landscape photographers perhaps ought to do. Flat blue colour. We can deal with that with contrast, we can deal with that with darkening it down, we can deal with that with colour contrast, we can deal with it in all kinds of ways. It's how we deal with all of these things that's important, and never ever forget that when you go out and pick up your camera, or specifically actually before you go out. Don't look at the sky and say, oh, that's not worth it, because there'll be something out there that is. Take care. We'll see you next time.